Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Robert's train set again on the table. I hope you all had a very nice Christmas and a happy New Year. And here we are on the, I think the 7th, isn't it, of January? So we're into 22. God, dear. Let's hope it's better than 20 and 21, eh? We shall see, won't we? Anyway, what's been going on? Well, as you might have seen in number 6, which was on New Year's Eve, I did actually get these to work a bit better, but I've moved on a bit of a pace now, and the jinty that's just going through the frame, if you noticed in that, it was very quick on when it went, wasn't it, when it took off, because I'd done those settings in it, in the decoders. So I have actually done a speed graph for this, a proper one, but to be honest I'm not happy with it because it looks totally different to what you see in the manuals and on Bob Fowler's videos. So I had a suspicion about what it was, and I phoned up Alan, not Dragon Junction, the iTRAINS man, and he did explain, or rather he sort of confirmed what I was thinking. So I'm going to redo this jinty, and I'll show you part of the process, not all of it because it takes quite a while, but I'll show you a bit of it. I've set up a camera for the computer that's on a stand, so it should be a bit more steady, and we'll see how we get on with this. But I think first of all I'll just show you running the 2 trains in those sort of programs that I was doing, and it's now, as far as I'm concerned, a lot more reliable, and hopefully we won't keep going into the wrong section and chipping it. So there we go. The sound will still stop because when it stops being used under automatic, it stops everything, sound and everything. Whether this can be changed, I suspect it can be. It's just a case of finding which bit to go into. So let's get on with this and we'll see how we go. And I'm just filming this sort of in the morning, just before my lunch. I had my lunch a bit early, gonna get up early, so I'm a bit hungry, and I'm gonna go and have my sandwich and my tea, of course. So let's get on with this, all right, everybody? So I'll be back in a second. So everyone, before we start, I just want to show you I have made some changes to the layout since you saw the last little automated running session at the end of number 6, and the major one is on this straight here. If you remember with that, we had 2 sections or blocks in this station area. Well, now I've only got 1 block, so the whole of this straight bit is in fact 1 block, and I'm using this block to do my speed checks, and it works very well. And if you have a look here, wherever I put it, there is the detector that was on the second bit of track. So that's no longer being used at the moment. It's still on and still connected, but obviously not detecting anything. And as you saw in the last one, I got my eLINK down from the loft after doing the Christmas run. And here we have it set up, ready to change decoder settings. It's all ready and it works very well. So the other change is out around the other side. So as you can see, I've got my Panasonic film camera, you know, my photographic camera, the one I used to do YouTubes with, and I've got that directed on my new laptop with iTRAINS on. And if I pan in a little bit, you'll notice there is a siding on there, but it's not connected to the main track, because I did connect it and I had limited success with it, with the new type of point I said it was. But again, it was causing iTRAINS to say this route's not available or not possible. So I took it out. I will try it again and see how we get on. So I think now we'll have a look at the trains running, and then I'll show you what I did to get them to run like this, both now and at the end of number 6 that you saw. So this is the switchboard where you do all your changes, and I'll just show you on TT2 there, the block TT2. As you can see, there's quite a bit of thing. I've raised some of the speeds to make it a little bit quicker, although I think if you overdo it then you do have trouble. But the reason they weren't stopping, quite simply, is this bit. So when it was happening, I thought, you need to tell the trains to stop. But there wasn't anywhere where I thought you could do that, and that was because I haven't any signals. I didn't think I needed that, so I took that tick out, and that's what I ended up with. And in fact, you do need this one, and you don't need any of those, and you don't need that, but what you do need is this one to give it a stop position. And you might notice there's 750 millimeters in that, which means coming from the left hand bend into this, that is the previous, you want it 750 mil from there to stop. And I've done the same coming from the other way, but of course the trains aren't running that way, so it doesn't actually matter at the moment. But that's why they would not stop, just because I'd unticked that. So any little thing you do on this can make a big difference. If you notice up here, 838mm long that now is, so it's quite a long straight, so it works quite well. And I've taken it from being a station, as you can see, to free track, because I thought that I haven't set it as a station in here, just on this bit, but you need to sort of make a complete station block out of that. So I'll do that later today when I'm a bit more conversant with what I'm doing. But that's why. So everything's worked. Now when I actually took that straight out, and I shall just get this way, when I took that little bit of straight out, it caused all sorts of problems. In the end I had to just completely redo that bit there and make a new block out of it, which I did. And if you notice, I've got double arrows on everything because I thought I might need them for doing the speed sections, because it goes one way and then back the other way automatically. So I'm going to show you that next, I think. And we're going to do it with the Ginty. We have the Ginty one in, so you can see the Ginty is the one that's in. And from having a straight one like we have for the N7 still, you see that straight line from diagonal to diagonal, which isn't recommended. We now have a very funny line, don't we? Now what I'm a bit concerned about is all the others I've seen on Bob Fowler's excellent series and in the iTRAINS manual, they go like that. And I phoned up Alan, not Mr. Dragon Junction, but the other Alan, to ask him, and it is down to one of the decoder settings in the loco, which I'm going to correct. So as you can see, it's got all the miles an hour down here. Now the one that you notice is on number 1, I've got 3.7 miles an hour, and I think that's just too fast because it suddenly shoots off from the line. So I'm going to lower that quite a bit. I think I got a bit confused because Bob Fowler uses kilometres an hour, and he was sort of saying 3 kilometres an hour. Well, 3.7 is a lot miles an hour, a lot more than 3 kilometres. So I'm going to slow that down. So I'll show you how we sort that out and what happens. So I'm just about to clear this one. There we are, and we're back to as you saw before. I changed the acceleration deceleration down to 2, as you saw. Now the start voltage I changed to get it to run at 3 miles an hour as a start off. So I'm going to make that even less. And the maximum speed I changed because when I first put it on, the speed that came up was 98 miles an hour. And bearing in mind these only did about 50. So I've now set that to do about 55, which I think is a happy medium. But the number 6, the V mid. Now Alan told me that that needs to be sort of midway between the maximum and the minimum. And at the moment it's at 48, so it's nowhere near. It's probably almost the same as the maximum speed. So I think that's why that curve is maybe like it is. So we'll see how we go. So let's go back to the screen and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I have the Ginty on the programming track, so I just need to push information. And there we are. And as you can see, number 10 is obviously the number for controlling it. I've done the start voltage at 008. So I'm going to take that down. And the other one to do is, I've done maximum speed at 118 and medium is at 100. So that needs to go down quite considerably. So we're going to, first of all, take down that one. And I will, I think, take that down to 6 and we'll give it a go. So that's that one. And I think I'll save them individually as I go. So I now need to set up on the other computers for doing the speed run. But I'll leave this up here because I might need to change it again. As you can see, it's going to take quite a while to go across here, so I will split it. Now I've lowered the CV to that start voltage down to 4 now, because I found 6 was about 2 miles an hour, and I'd like it a little bit slower than that. So I'm hoping that that will be slow enough. If you look at the computer, you can see there's an arrow on that number 1, red arrow, showing it's being measured. And the minute it goes across the joint, it will show a speed. And you can tell when it does by the end lighting up like it just does. 1.7. I think I'm happy with that, so I'm going to leave it at that. So as you can see, I've got the 2 end curves and the straight that used to be the station straight, and you'll see the loco go across quite slowly. I'm just highlighting the first speed step, and I push start, table, and it really only affects it when it's doing the really slow ones. But as you can see, it's going to take quite a while to go across here, so I will that will be slow enough. If you look at the computer, you can see there's an arrow on that number 1, red arrow, showing it's being measured. And you can tell when it does by the end lighting up like it just does. 1.7. I think I'm happy with that, so I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm now going to do a proper speed check. I'm ready now to start this speed check. And we start with 126, but I don't want it to check every one all at the same time. So what I'm going to do is right click and get it to do every 5th step, as you can see here. And that will do it through the whole range, as you can see. So we start with obviously 126. I've clicked the tick to do backwards and forwards because they do change considerably sometimes. And we're now going to start. And what you will see, and I've got a feeling the loco is probably the wrong way, so I'll do the direction. I'll set start and hopefully it won't hit my arm. Let's have a look. And you can see it now recorded. It's come out 54.6, which is about right. That's what I want. And it will now do backwards. And if you look, you can just see the speed graph going from the top right hand corner there. It is surprising how they change, isn't it? How different the reverse and forward are. It's pretty fascinating, I must admit. It's pretty fascinating, I must admit. And when you take out the CV settings for acceleration and deacceleration, the loco accelerates to maximum speed very quickly. If you still had those CV settings, it would take quite a while to build up, wouldn't it? And obviously it would need more of these side tracks to do that. But I must admit, I think it's a superb feature in this that you can do this. So in essence, it means that all your locos, when you do this process, if you ask them to run at 50 miles an hour, they will. Which, you know, is far better than Hornby's one, isn't it, hopefully? So you should be able to hitch two locos with completely different things, set the speed, and they will do that speed. No, exactly the same. It's pretty good. And as you notice, the apply have just clicked in. So I'll go down and apply it, and we'll see all these fill in magically. There we are. And the speed graph did change slightly, I think, but not bad at all. So there we are. That's done. I can click that out. And if we go to the locomotive tab in Edit, there we are. There's my Ginty with the new speed graph, which I'm a lot happier with. A lot better than the other one. So I'll now set up and we'll just give these another run and we'll see how we get on. Well, hello everybody. I'm filming this screen on my little GoPro type camera. So you've just seen that they work quite well. You sometimes find that they do lock themselves up and don't go, but in this case it did work. And you might notice that the Ginty went off reasonably slowly, but this is after a bit of tweaking in the locomotive tab. So if I just go there and show you. So here we are in the locomotive editor tab, and as you can see I've got the Ginty 060. Now when I first did this, even though I reduced the startup speed as you saw in earlier, it was still very quick away, shall we say, when it went. So I went in here, and this inertia simulation here, it's recommended sort of between 200 and 300. Well, it was set at 200, the same as the braking is, but it would, as I say, it would just, so I've actually raised it to 600 milliseconds, which is the sort of delay, I think. I've also done the step size from 4 that I had it, or 3 that I had it, down to 2, and that does seem to have helped. But I still don't think it's as smooth as you would like it to be, but there we are, we'll see how we go. Still a learning curve, isn't it? So I was speaking to Alan about all this with the loco and everything, and he's obviously seen some of my bits that I've done, and what he thought would be a good idea would be this reservation count, which is keeping the blocks apart, is I think by default set at 2. And he said if you do that to 1, then it'll only need 1 clear block to go into. But when I came to do this was all blanked out. You couldn't do anything with it. So it's funny how things lead into other things. So phoned him up again and said I can't do anything, and what he said you had to do was have a route already in, which I now have there. And this is really good because what I've been using so far have been instant routes, and I think the name that you call them, instant routes, sort of says it all. They're instant, and when they've gone, they're gone. You can't save them or anything. But with these routes, and it's in the route editor, as you can see, these can be saved as I have here. And what's good about them is not only you don't have to specify any particular train to use them, so you can have two trains using the same route. So I'm going to show you that now. So one of the major rules of routes is that you must have your trains on that route. So in other words, if I was to have one of my trains in the siding, if it was working okay, and it wasn't included in the route, it wouldn't work. But what I'll show you is if I take the Ginty with its passenger train up to that block, you see the little arrow there in the red and white arrow? That is the route. Now I shall also put it down here as well, and down here, and I've got to obviously put the other one here. Now you don't get a little arrow here because I haven't instigated it to do it. But what we do now is I'll go and turn the main video camera on, and I'll click that, and I will click that one, and then it should all work, and then we'll have a see and see what it does. Now the idea of the program is it will send them round 3 times, and I've asked it to sort of sometimes stop here as like there was a station, or here it's a station, or there is a station, and I'll show you these, and it'll come up here saying how long the wait is. So we'll see how we go. Well, that's how it worked yesterday. So here we go, and we'll see how we get on. So this takes quite a long time to do, I would imagine. We'll see how we go. So off we go with the Ginty, and I shall click the button on the N7. And as you can see, they're both accelerating. We click the button on the N7. And as you can see, they're both accelerating. And you'll see now, you see the emblems around the layout, and you notice that they sort of go blue and white. And then as the train disappears, it's a thing. Now, where the yellow ones come up for the goods train with the N7, that's going to wait there. But at the moment, the passenger train hasn't got one of those. So if you look, we've got a scheduled stop of 8 seconds. And you'll see now. You see the emblems around the layout, and you notice that they sort of go blue and white. And then as the train disappears, it's a thing. Now, where the yellow ones come up for the goods train with the N7, that's going to wait there. But at the moment, the passenger train hasn't got one of those. So if you look, we've got a scheduled stop of 8 seconds. And you can see it counting down, and that's now going to go now. And you can see it counting down, and that's now going to go now. At the moment, the local passenger isn't stopping anywhere. And it looks as though the freight is going to stop this side again. Ah, now the local passenger is going to stop in the station. I did ask it to do the whistle, which it did it a little bit early, but it did it. And we can now see that we've got an 11-second stop for the passenger train and a 6-second stop for the goods train. And I think, possibly, no, it's carrying on. I don't quite understand why the passenger train stopped on that curve, because it should have been in that full straight. But you get the gist of this, you can have a continuous run round. Now obviously if you had sidings and extra track, it makes it quite interesting. You can put variables in, you can let the computer decide what it's going to do. And I find it quite fascinating watching all this on the layout and on the computer screen. Now I think it might have, oh no, it's still going. And we can see that the goods train is now going to stop, as is the local passenger. And we have a 9-second one for the passenger run, and a 7-second one for thing. You can make these delays as long as you like. You can make them 100% certain, or you can make them almost unlikely to happen. I hope you've enjoyed this. To be honest, I've lost count of how many times it's gone round. So the local passenger train is about to come in and do a stop here. So before it's so dark, I'll try and line it up in editing. It's a very grey day today. So there we are. And I hope you can just see above in the computer screen it counting down. It's now going to go. It's also going to stop on the bend. It's going to stop there for 9 seconds. Now I notice, I think, that this might be the end of the sequence. I believe that that has now finished. So if we have a look back at this, yeah, we all seem to be all in semi-automatic. So I think that's finished. So I quite enjoyed this, it's quite good. So we'll just hopefully turn them on. I'm still learning. So I'm quite pleased with this, so I hope you like it. see that the goods train is now going to stop, as is the local passenger. You have a 9-second one for the passenger one, and a 7-second one for thing. You can make these delays as long as you like. You can make them 100% certain, or you can make them almost unlikely to happen. I hope you've enjoyed this. To be honest, I've lost count of how many times it's gone round. So I just thought I'd show a few close-ups, and this is the Ginty by itself in an earlier go, and as you can see, the yellow in the main station area means it's going to stop, so I thought I'd film that happening. So as it comes round the bend, it does the whistle of R6 do, which is very good. And it comes into the long straight and does its, I think it's about a 7-second stop it was asked for here, I can't remember. But I think we'd like to see a little bit more of a close-up, because it's all been long range, hasn't it? So quite a long time, 7 seconds, isn't it? So, speeds up, and away she goes. So I'll follow her around a bit. And she went round at a reasonable speed, not too bad with this sort of size thing. And I did believe she was going to actually stop here as well. So, I'm going to finish this one here. We've packed a lot in on this one, haven't we? So I hope you've enjoyed it. And I think the next one is, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with the next one. I think I'm getting to the area where now I've got to experiment on this one to see what I can do. Now there's obviously things I can't do on here, like maybe sorting that siding out. I don't think it's going to work until I've got a point that can be changed. And I hope you can still hear me with this going on behind me. But I've got the program running again, and it's doing well. I'm really pleased with this. So I'd like to thank Alan and all the other people that have helped me, and obviously Bob Fowler. I mean, without him I wouldn't have got anywhere near to this. And I have been dabbling into the iTRAINS manual, and some of it is, if you read it and you've seen other things, it does make sense. I can see that. So I'm really pleased. Hope I'd like comments. Do you like watching these on this table? Not exactly like up in the loft, is it? But I think I've done the right thing by doing this all down here. So watch out for the next one, and find out what I've decided to do in it. Alright everybody? And as I said, I hope you all had a nice Christmas and New Year. And here we go into 22. See how we get on. Alright everybody? Bye bye.